Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. Mounty Carl back with another Let's Talk, and today's Let's Talk will be a little bit less jubilant. We're going to be talking about the worst case scenario for patch 1.2 because as I hyped up the trailer in my previous video, I went back and I really looked at the 1.1 trailer and was thinking about how good that looked and how misleading it really was and how exciting it was and how hyped I was for that, and we all know who that turned out. So let's get talking. Alright, agents, so first things first, I want to go ahead and address some of the things that were in the 1.1 trailer that really didn't come to fruition. And that was, the first thing is exotic weapons. Now, the trailer mentioned that we would get new gear sets and exotic weapons, but I don't think any of us have seen any of these really, like, so-called new weapons yet, like the exotic weapons. So exotic weapons, I'm not talking about like one or two. Exotic weapons to me means that there's going to be multiple exotic weapons. I mean, they have the ones from before the patch, like Midas, Tenembra, and some of the other ones, but the only really new one is the Valkyrie and the Warlord, right? So they added two weapons and that's it? No historian or anything really worth going into the incursion and getting. So, you know, it's like the Warlord is like a 0.0001% drop rate, and I almost forgot that they added that one new exotic weapon, but honestly, who cares? It was garbage to begin with, like the rest of the weapons. You know, the Midas was great when it first came out, but then they nerfed it, and it went by the wayside. Nobody really cares about it. So, yeah, exotic weapons, non-existent. You know, throwing in something that people were excited about and then kind of crapping on them really doesn't bode well for the 1.2 patch, because we see what they put in and it could be a letdown. So next thing was the mention of HQ dropping in supply drops. Now they did do supply drops. So if HQ is dropping them into the Dark Zone, how come Fei Lao is questioning it whenever you go into the Dark Zone, like she doesn't know what they are or understand what the supply drops are? So if the SHD, the Secret Homeland or Security Homeland Division or whatever that crap is called, is dropping airdrops into the Dark Zone for the agents, why is Fei Lao unaware of this? Like, did they record the lines before they did the trailer? Or, I know she only has one good eye, but damn it, she has two good ears. She could have gotten the report from the drops from the DZ from an HQ update or something like that. Most likely she was thinking about, how she spends, just wants to be out there and not behind the desk surfing some webpage all day. I think I saw Staten Island's notarealborough.com open on her laptop, honestly. So let's go ahead and talk about the trailer, because those other items are, they really didn't see the light of day. The exotics were put on in the trailer, and for some strange reason, exotic weapons was really, a typo. It should have been exotic weapon. Now, the opening where it shows the incursion, now this is what worries me about the 1.2 trailer, because we all know what the incursion was, and looking at the footage, they certainly took some artistic liberties with the scenery. Here's the left side of the room, here's a picture of the right side of the room, here's the APC, just some JTF getting blown up, and finally here's the back of the room. Looking at the 1.2 trailer, it could very well be the exact same thing, because really, they didn't show us a whole lot. They didn't show us actual gameplay, they just showed us kind of this guide fly-through footage of it, as opposed to when they showed the 1.1 trailer. As you can see, they showed actual gameplay footage, and now they're not. So, it's hit or miss, and it's very worrisome. So looking at the 1.2 trailer, it could very well be the exact same thing. Now let's talk about the gear sets mentioned in the 1.1 trailer. They showed us all of the gear sets. Nomad was the survivor. How is the Path of the Nomad survivor set? It doesn't help you survive at all. It has one perk for surviving, and that is if you have 4 pieces of it, and it doesn't even work in PvP. So how are you surviving? So it makes no sense why this is the survivor gear patch or gear set or whatever it is. What are you going to survive? Some level 30s out in the PvE area, and the only place you can get it is the Dark Zone? Like, that makes no sense. Like, it makes zero sense. So the one place that this isn't going to work is the Dark Zone, and the only place that it will work is PvE, but the only place you can get it is the Dark Zone. Literally no sense. And how is scavenging a survivor perk? Are you scavenging for food like those homeless people that come up to you while you're out in the PvE area? Like at least that's a perk where you can select something that you need and walk up to an agent and they can give it to you. That would be a survivor perk. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the Nomad gear is absolutely useless, it's worthless, and it will continue to be worthless until they fix it. So, moving on, Sentry's Call, yeah, Sniper. The sniper thing. Yeah, it was intended for sniper playstyle, but once again, the perks make way for a sniper playstyle, but it isn't any good for it for all the weapons. Luckily, they're changing that in the 1.2 to be only applicable to marksman rifle, pistols, and somehow shotguns. How is shotgun a sniper weapon? That makes absolutely no sense either. So you have a short-range weapon and a long-range weapon that it's good for, but nothing for mid-range. So good job there. Anyways, moving along, we got a lot of time to cover, so let's go ahead. We'll move on to the Striker battle set for Strikers. WTF, man? What is a Striker? The video shows a guy holding a ballistic shield. What's he going to do with that? There isn't a ballistic shield perk on the set. There isn't a damage increase for pistols on it. This set makes even less sense when you think about it than the Nomad does for Survivor. It should have been called Attacker or Assault style play, or, Striker, are you kidding me? Where's the goalie gear set and the halfback gear set? Honestly, Striker makes absolutely no sense. Really. And so lastly, Tactician's gear set. Now, this one is really useless, especially if you're solo. In fact, I wanted to see how useless it was, so I leveled up a new character, put 4 pieces of Tacticians on them. This character couldn't survive a bee sting. This is a support character all the way, and it's really made for groups. If you cannot solo with it. You have almost no health, you have no DPS, and you pretty much stuck out living, making a lot of no sense, because that's really what the Tactician's gear set is really just going around and you pretty much suck at everything, living, except for getting your health back, because it recharges so fast that you get your health back. But it won't matter, since people can just drop you by, walking up and hitting you almost. They can melee you, and it's just worthless. It's pretty much all of these gear sets except for the Sentry, because it's bugged, is worthless in this game. That's why everybody's running it. And sure, some of the sets that stack on the Striker gear set, sure, they're useful. Let's not overlook the usefulness of it. But really, Nomad, Tactician, they're both useless gear sets, and pretty much that's why nobody uses them. Hopefully, they make a change that makes them useful. And if you're running a Tactician, run in a group, don't run solo. If you're not a Tactician, great for you. Since we're done with the trailer, let's go ahead and move on. Everything else in the trailer is fine. Dropping loot for group members is BS, since you can't really do any drops it's only from random mob drops that you can drop stuff. Honestly, F you, Ubisoft. You make this great perk for dropping, and sharing loot, but you can't share it from just anything. You can only share it from boss drops and mob drops. How is that even fair? Like, how is that? You can't go up to a box, pick out 2 golds, and give it to your friend. Not even fair. So, change that. Just make it better. Honestly, at this point, people understand the state of the game, and this is just something that is accepted as BS. Now, really quickly, let's talk about our exclusive bonuses that we got for being season pass holders, because that is originally a couple videos ago I was going to say that. Now, most of us are still waiting for our season pass only events. It's only been 3 months, not a single event. Where are the season pass events for the season pass holders? Don't tell me that there's monthly events are the supplies that we get from the boxes. When you log in each month and it's like, hey, here's your supply drop. Go to the reward vendor and get your supplies. That's not a monthly event. I'm sure it happens monthly, but it's not an event. An event is something that happens in the game and you have something to do with it. That's what it is. So please don't tell me that there are supplies that we get each month that are a little less than 30 minutes worth of Dark Zone work. Please don't tell me that all of the events you could come up with, let's give them a monthly supply drop, is all you can come up with for a monthly event. So that's one lie that you've told. The second lie is that you were told that we would all get sports outfits. Now, wait, let me back up really quickly, because I'm still pissed off at the monthly event thing. Monthly events. Where are they? Where are they? Have some special event for season pass holders. There's no reason to buy the season pass right now, except for, next month it's going to be coming along. You get a supply drop. Who cares? I can go get more supplies in an hour or a half an hour than you're giving me. So there's no reason for you to drop supplies in my reward vendor. I would rather have a monthly season pass only event in the PvE area where a special mission opens up a week in advance of playing the incursion without anybody else being able to play it for season pass holders. Those would get people to buy the season pass. What you're doing right now, nobody cares about your season pass, honestly. So, all right, let's go back to the advertisement. And I don't know where the advertisement is right now because they've taken it down and they removed it and they removed all instance of it. But, you know, when they dropped the downloadable content that you could buy for $4.99, the sports themed pack, the sports themed pack, the ad said if you bought the season pass, you would get the sports themed pack or for the outfits or whatever. And it clearly stated that season passes would be getting those outfits when they were released. Well, guess what? You didn't specifically make those, but it said the sports outfits, and then somehow you decided to change your mind. And it's a wonder that Risk Velasquez talks about things getting dark, or that he's not feeling very glib. He, like us, understands that the words bait and switch mean, or he understands what the words bait and switch mean, except we haven't gotten anything to be switched out. The season pass holders who blindly, on faith, we went out and bought the season pass and have gotten little more than a glimpse of anything promised by it. We got a National Guard outfit. Whoopity ding dong! Who cares? Let's ring the wedding bells, because Ubisoft actually did release an outfit they promised. Now, the sports outfit. Don't make me dig up the ad and shove it in your stupid faces. Oh, and then there was the post about the CSR said that while the ad said that we would be getting them, we're not getting them. That was directly from a customer service representative saying, yeah, the ad said it, but it was a mistake. Yeah, if it's a mistake, guess what? You're on the hook for that. That's false advertisement, Ubisoft. You can't false advertise. You can't bait and switch people. You can't say, you know, if you don't come out with 3 expansion packs, people are going to be pretty pissed. So if you promise something and you don't deliver on it, people are going to be mad. It's right on. So go ahead and leave your comments down below as to anything I may have missed in the stuff. The next Let's Talk, I'm going to be going over your comments from the last couple of videos that I did, and we're just going to do a whole comment-only area where I basically call out different comments from different YouTubers who have asked questions, and I'll try and give a best answer as I can, and we'll just knock that out of the park. So anyways, that's been my time. I am still looking forward to the 1.2 patch, but maybe with a little bit more pessimism now that I went back and realized that patch 1.1 trailer was a lot of smoke and mirrors. That again is just, you know, my opinion, and I urge everybody to go back and watch the 1.1 trailer because it was amazing and we all got crapped on for it. So take that with a grain of salt. Look at the 1.2 with fresh new eyes now that I've opened you up to the 1.1 trailer. Thanks again for watching and supporting this series. I enjoy our little talks, and we will be looking over your comments on the 1.2 trailer and posting those in the next Let's Talk. Thank you again. I am Mounty Carl, and this has been a Division Let's Talk right here on Gun Brothers Gaming. Agent out.